This is your before and after story, where your first steps towards a new life-changing career begin. Southeastern College can take you there. We offer in-demand hybrid and online programs with hands-on training, led by in-field career professionals, and career services to put you on the path to a rewarding and fulfilling future. This is where your transformation begins. Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sec.edu to get started.
This is VSiN PrimeTime. Live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Big night for the New York Yankees, and that's a great way to start the show tonight for Will Hill and myself here on VSiN Primetime. Will, how many times did the Yankees go deep in the first inning?
I think we got to 4. It was similar to that game in second, third game of the season against Nestor Cortez when they hit, was it 3 homers on the first 3 pitches or 4 homers on the first 4 pitches? 4 out of the first 5 tonight. So, man, not something you see every day. Grisham, Judge, Bellinger, and Rice all with solo homers. Then they had a 5th run with a Chisholm triple and then an RBI. Chisholm did leave the game. Couldn't tell what the injury was. Looked like he aggravated something during his at-bat. But a nice start for the Yankees. I thought about betting him. I looked at it. I said, minus 165, minus 170 in some spots. I thought Gibson was a guy you could fade. Rodon's been okay. You can't really trust him. But I didn't quite get there. And, of course, 5-0 before you blink.
I know it's not easy to lay 160 in a baseball game, but right now you wish you had done it, right? Because that would be a bargain price. Compared to the live line, Yankees up 5-0. We're at the end of the first inning. Yankees had 7 hits in the first inning and 4 home runs and a triple. Great way to start the game. Well, it looks like you have your Yankees polo shirt on there. What's that, pinstripe, white shirt, pinstripe? Yeah. Is that a Yankee shirt?
It's not a Yankee shirt, but, yeah, the colors should have been an omen to bet the Bombers tonight for sure.
All right, for those who didn't watch our show Monday night, and if you missed it, you missed one of the best shows on the network this week. Anyway, we had a great guest list last night, but I mentioned at the top that JVT, who's been a stalwart on this show for a long time, VSiN Primetime, for unknown reasons, he got demoted. He was moved to an early show in the day with Stormy, and Will Hill has been promoted. I think that's the proper way to phrase it, right, Will?
Sounds good to me. Bad beat for JVT, who goes from working with me on Saturdays to now he gets to hang out with Stormy. Yeah. So that's a tough one for him. Now, that show's going to be great. It's great Stormy has a regular partner. That's going to be a good show. I listened today. They're a fun combo. And I'm glad to be back with you. We did a lot of shows last spring, last summer. So excited to be reunited. That's
a good promo for that show. A fun combo. That's they could use that to talk about JVT and Stormy, or Stormy and JVT is how it should be said. Anyway, that is a good combo during the day. Yankees up 5-0 on the Orioles. We got some other baseball games in progress. Phillies 2-0 over the Nationals. And we'll break down the best baseball games on the card here, of course, in the first hour tonight. I want to tell you who we have on the show before we jump into it at 4:15 Pacific, and I always talk in Pacific time terms. Adam Burke of VSiN.com, managing editor, is going to be on, and he'll have some baseball plays tonight for sure. Dynamic duo in the 5 o'clock hour, Jeff Sherman of the Westgate Superbook and Matt Grill of DraftKings, and then one of the sharpest horse handicappers on the planet at 6:30 p.m., Bob Ike of Southern California. You'll find Bob at the Santa Anita and Del Mar racetracks pretty much year-round, and Bob's going to break down the Derby tonight, and he's as good as it gets, so you definitely want to stay tuned for that. All right, Will Hill, we've got a tighter game in the NBA playoffs right now than we had when I walked into Circa. When I walked in here, it was 40-25, and Mitch and Paul were talking about it. Pacers off to a really poor start tonight, but they're slowly digging out of the hole. Bucks just scored, but it's 47-39, so an 8-point game with 1 minute to go before the half, and the Pacers are right back in it. That is not the VSiN Primetime game of the night, but this is.
The lights are on and the stakes are high. It's the Primetime game of the night.
About as easy of a decision as you're going to get here. Tonight, the best of the first-round playoff series in the NBA by far. And it's Clippers, Nuggets, Game 5 after a sensational Game 4 with Aaron Gordon throwing in the dunk as time expired. And the Clippers won that game 101-99 to even the series of 2. They go to Denver tonight as 2-point favorites, and total of 208.5. Will, you and I have a similar bet on this series. I would say the same bet. I don't know if we have the same price. Nuggets in 7. I've got plus 390. It'd be great if the Nuggets could win this game tonight. I'm not really expecting it. I did play the Clippers on the money line at minus 122. How about you?
Haven't played it yet. I'm torn on this game because, like you, I have Nuggets in 7. I think I'm plus 375, 380, same neighborhood. It feels like the Clippers are better. It feels like the Clippers have more options, just more players with guys to throw at Jokic, whether it's Zubac. Simmons has actually not done a terrible job on Jokic. Dunn and Leonard, these great perimeter defenders. So it feels like the Clippers are better, but something about this has just felt like a 7-game series, smelled like a 7-game series since the beginning, since game 1 went to overtime. Game 4 almost went to overtime. If Denver loses tonight, we're probably not going to 7. So if I think it's going to 7, I have to pick Denver tonight. I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to root for Denver. I'm going to root for the home teams to hold serve the next 2 games and get to a 7th game. Like I said, kind of torn on the game where I feel like the Clippers are better, but I have a sneaky suspicion Denver finds a way to win at home. I've really gone back and forth, but if I liked it to go 7 before the series, I don't see any reason to jump off board now. So no play for me. Did you said you bet the Clippers?
I did, minus 122. Not a big bet, but it's kind of a hedge on that Nuggets in 7 because if the Clippers win tonight, I don't know if the series is going to go 7. You know, we're going to have to need the Nuggets to win back-to-back games in L.A. And like you said, I feel like watching the first 4 games of the series, it's been pretty clear to me the Clippers been a better team, not by a big margin, but the Clippers been a better team by a small margin, I think, in 3 of the 4 games. And better defensive team for sure. I think Jeff Van Gundy's doing a hell of a job. So I thought I was in the past. I like to bet against the Clippers in the playoffs because they're soft, injury prone. A lot of things go wrong with this team. But Jeff Van Gundy's addition to the coaching staff, I think, has made a tremendous difference in the Clippers. They're much tougher defensively. And you can tell that that's Denver's weakness. Nuggets are a little bit too soft on the defensive end. They don't have much depth. 2 weaknesses for the Nuggets. And both of these will get exposed the longer this series goes, you would think. When you're soft on the defensive end and you don't have much depth in a 7-game series, that can be a problem. Will, in Game 4 in L.A., the Nuggets got a total of 4 points from their bench. And that's going to put a lot of stress on that starting 5. The Joker's done a great job so far just carrying this team on his back. 36 points, 21 rebounds, 8 assists in Game 4. I hope he's got enough gas in the tank to get it to 7 games. But I feel like after the way the Nuggets won on Saturday in that dramatic fashion with the Joker throwing up the missed 3 that was basically an alley-oop to Gordon, the way they won that game, I think you're going to see the Clippers come back with a big effort tonight. And that's my concern here. I'd be okay with it if the Nuggets win the game because I got them in 7, and then it would go 7. Actually, what I would do here, Will, and I was thinking about this before I made the bet on the Clippers, betting the Clippers minus 122 tonight. If they lose this game tonight, I will be making a substantial bet on the Clippers just in Game 6, believing that they're going to win in Game 6 and force it to 7. And that's not anything to hedge necessarily. That's just if the Clippers win tonight, I'll like them a lot in that situation in Game 7. Let me ask you this, though. One thing do you have to be concerned about? James Harden has a history of disappearing in playoff series when you get to games 5, 6, and 7. Would you be concerned about that from the Clippers' perspective?
I would always be concerned if I'm the Clippers and I got guys named Harden and Kawhi. You're always, with Kawhi, you're one tweet away from knee discomfort. We'll see him, in a year from now. It's been good so far, but we've seen that in the past. Harden, like you said, has disappeared at the end of these series, so it's always in the back of my mind. Now, Denver doesn't have a bunch of A-plus wing defenders to throw at him, so his life has been a little bit easier, but it's certainly something that's in the back of your head. I was thinking this, too, is, not that I'm looking to hedge, because even if you get to a Game 7, then what, you're going to hedge again? You don't want to hedge your way fully out of it's a 4-1 ticket. It's almost not even a 4-1 ticket. It's not it's 40-1. But maybe if Denver got a lead tonight, even if they're up, 12-4, 18-10 or something, and I get the Clippers plus points, now that's a really nice hedge. I'm set up with a middle. If I'm Denver and I'm up 3-2, all right, now I feel pretty good that I'm going to get a Game 7, then I can kind of go from there. So I know what you mean about the hedge. It's crossed my mind, and I might ultimately do it. But for a plus 375 or so ticket to be hedging in game 5 for something where I got to hedge in game 6 and then hedge in game 7, it's too far out for me, even though I completely agree with the thinking.
Yeah, I know. You don't want to hedge your way out of it when you're sitting in a pretty good position here with the series tied at 2, Game 5 in Denver. This is kind of what you wanted before it started. At JVT and Jeff Sherman of the Westgate Superbook last week, they were talking, this series is over. Clippers going to win next 3 in a row. It's going to be over in 5. No doubt about it. I'm hoping this goes 7, and I think it will. I'm pretty confident it will. But like you said, that's just a nice, I think, insurance policy, too, to have those Nuggets in 7 at 4-1. If it gets there, you're in pretty good shape. I will leave the option open to do what you talked about tonight, too, because I love to do this in the NBA, and it would have you had a chance to grab a good number with the Pacers tonight when they were down 15. If the Nuggets get out to a lead, and let's say we could get the Clippers plus, 5.5, plus 7.5, something like that live, the option's open to take that too. So you and I will both be looking at that throughout the game tonight for an opportunity like that. But again, that game is a little ways away. It's going to start at 7 p.m. Pacific. We're almost 3 hours away from tip-off in Denver. We're at halftime right now in Indianapolis. Milwaukee up 47-41. So the Pacers down 15 have closed it to 6 at halftime. This number at Circa closed Pacers minus 7.5. At DraftKings 8, total of 222. And it is trending way under the total right now with 88 points on the board at halftime. Again, 47-41 Bucks over the Pacers. I also got a game about to start in New York, Pistons and Knicks. Knicks are 5.5-point favorites, total of 215.5 right here at Circa. All right, Adam Burke of VSiN.com is going to join us right after the break. Adam will have best bets in baseball tonight, and you don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. VSiN PrimeTime, the Sports Betting Network. Will Hill, Matt Youmans in here, VSiN PrimeTime. 4 hours tonight. We're just getting started, and it's a great time to go out to the Progressive Guest Line and dial up the head honcho at VSiN.com, Adam Burke. Adam, welcome back to the show. Great to have you on. I know you were on with Gil Alexander talking about your team, the Cleveland Browns. I don't know if you want to claim ownership of the Browns or not. I watched a little bit of that clip. Now, I was going to ask you, how did you feel about their draft in general? And can you explain, because I couldn't understand it, why they took Dylan Gabriel from Oregon in the 3rd round and then another quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, in the 5th?
Yeah, so look, I was really happy with the first 4 picks and the trade down with the Browns. I mean, Travis Hunter has nobody to throw to him this year, so you're just kind of wasting a year of him as a wide receiver. I mean, I guess it's going to take him some time to acclimate to the NFL, especially if he wants to play both ways, but the Browns really aren't in a position to be taking a wide receiver, even if he's going to play a little bit of corner, 2nd overall right now. So I like the trade back. Jacksonville's 1st-round pick next year could end up being really, really good. Cleveland's 1st-round pick next year should be really good. So they may have 2 top 10 picks, top 10, top 12, top 15, whatever you think of the Jaguars here for next season. I like the pick of Mason Graham. Defensive tackles are really important in the Jim Schwartz defense. Carson Schlesinger, I think, is maybe a sign that they don't expect JOK to be back next year. So they felt like they needed kind of a tackle machine there at linebacker. I like Judkins. They needed a running back. I think he's a very versatile guy, good pass protector too. And I love Harold Fannin Jr., who I think was an underrated player, not just at his position, but overall in college football. So I love the first 4 picks, love the trade back. And then I have no idea what they decided to do from that point forward. I don't know why they took Dylan Gabriel. He may not have even been drafted, let alone taken in the 3rd round. So I can't believe that.
Right.
Dylan Sampson, I mean, you just drafted Quinshon Judkins. Maybe my thought is maybe they want to turn Sampson into a slot guy, and they maybe see a little bit of value there. I don't know. We'll find out. And then, look, if you had told me before the draft that they had gotten Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round, I'd have been happy with that. But now, in looking back at the fact that they wasted a 3rd-round pick on Dylan Gabriel, I don't really get it. So, great first half of the draft, not so great second half.
Yeah, JVT and I were sitting here, I think day 2 of the draft on Friday, and we about fell out of our chairs when Dylan Gabriel went to the Browns in the 3rd round. You got to be kidding me. I thought he was going to be a 6th-round pick. And Gabriel to the Browns at number 94 overall. But I love the pick of Harold Fannin, tight end from Bowling Green. I love the Carson Schlesinger pick. I thought the Browns did a pretty good job up to that point. And then it's the Browns. What do you expect? It's they can't ace the entire draft. They have to screw up the back end. And very interesting. But I think the Browns are going to be a much talked about team, let's put it that way. And there's already some betting action on the Browns. At DraftKings, the board is up. Which quarterback will take the first snap of the regular season, week 1? And when this board opened, Joe Flacco was at 12-1 odds. I think he was the third choice. This board has shifted quite a bit. DraftKings reports 87% of the bets, 92% of the handle on Flacco at 3-1 odds now to take the first snap for the Browns in week 1. Like I said, DraftKings opened Flacco at 12-1. Kenny Pickett, the favorite, I believe at do we have that board as Kenny Pickett still the favorite at plus 120 or minus 120? All right, plus 110 is Kenny Pickett's number. And Shedeur Sanders, the third choice, 3-1 odds. Dylan Gabriel, 10-1. Deshaun Watson, who knows if we'll ever see him again. What are you thinking when you look at this board, Adam?
Well, first of all, I'm thinking I really hope we never see Deshaun Watson again. That's the starting point for me. Look, I mean, I think it's going to be Kenny Pickett. I think that they're kind of hoping like, hey, we acquired this guy, like maybe we find a backup out of him, something like that. Flacco is just an insurance policy, a guy that Kevin Stefanski really enjoyed coaching. I mean, when you watched him on the sidelines, whenever Flacco did something, he was, thrilled to be coaching a guy who can just sling it around the yard. Yeah, he's going to throw some picks, but, Stefanski seemed the happiest I've seen him as a coach. But boys, I'll say this, man, they're going to be a fascinating team in the preseason. Right. I don't know how they're going to split this playing time with Gabriel and Sanders. How they're going to get Pickett ready for the season. Flacco's a veteran. They probably won't really worry too much about playing him. It'll be fascinating to see. But the fact they already got rid of that, 5th year on Pickett, which they weren't going to pay him over $20 million anyway. But the fact they already got rid of that, it makes it kind of a question that he does start in week 1. I don't know. They're the Browns. I'm sure they'll do something ridiculous and stupid and crazy, but I think Pickett is the rightful favorite now, but that's not a market I'd be interested in betting into.
Do you think the Browns would be a great team for HBO's Hard Knocks training camp?
Well, they've already done it once. I mean, they certainly would be. And also, like, again, you talk about mystifying things that don't make any sense that they've done. Like, I know they need wide receivers, but Deontay Johnson, really? A dude who quit on his team, multiple teams last year? Mm-hmm. And, like, you're going to add him into that locker room? That's another move that's a complete head scratcher for them.
Adam, let's switch gears to baseball. About a month into the season, I'm curious if anything has changed your mind. Do you feel differently about any team now than you did at the beginning of the season? And to me, the most fascinating thing, big picture, is the American League is so much weaker than the National League. Do you have a sleeper team? How do you handicap who comes out of the American League? Just your big picture thoughts a month or so in.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting start to the season in a variety of ways. A couple of things I want to mention here first, right off the top, is, I wrote an article about this over at VSiN.com where road teams are winning less than 40% of their games right now. And generally speaking, over the last 10 to 15 years, you saw road teams win about 47% of their games. Now, obviously, the White Sox and the Rockies are just horrifically bad, but they were bad teams last year, too. And the other 28 road teams won 49% of their games. And even if you include them, it was still around 47%. So we're at 39.5% going into tonight's action. So road teams have been much worse than usual. I'm not entirely sure why that is. But the other thing I think is worth pointing out, going into tonight's action, the league-wide slugging percentage, lowest it's been since 2014, second lowest since 1992. I don't know if the ball is different. I don't know if it's just not carrying as much or if it's just pitchers adjusting, trying to stay off the barrel. Maybe we just don't have a lot of good offensive teams this season. I don't know. But we're going to have to get some more data and kind of dig more into this, especially as the weather warms up a little bit, to see if maybe we can find some of that lost power, some of those lost extra base hits. Because right now, slugging percentage is really lagging behind, what it has been over the last several years. So if the ball is different, that may hurt some of these offense first, no pitching types of teams, like a Baltimore, like a Boston, where their pitching, kind of hinges on Garrett Crochet staying healthy. So it's something to keep in mind here that, I'm curious to see if offense does tick up at any point in time here soon.
Couple games you're looking at tonight. One of them is in a rain delay. Guardians and Twins. Guardians laying -135 if we play Bybee against Paddock. And then the Giants with Webb, who's been fantastic, laying minus $1.22 here against Pivetta and the Padres. What are you looking for in these two games?
Yeah, so I mean, with the Twins one, this is kind of just a price play here where you can't lay this type of number with Tanner Bybee. I mean, the Guardians have basically half of a lineup, and that's if Jose Ramirez is, playing well. His bat speed's down this year, exit velocity's down. There's some concerns, I think, with Jose Ramirez, who doesn't really have the greatest body type as he ages, so I'm a little bit worried about that. Chris Paddock's a guy who throws a really good changeup. Historically, the Guardians have had problems with changeups. I don't know why. It's just been a thing for a very, very long time. So Paddock's best pitch, probably a pretty good matchup against this Cleveland lineup. And, I have to take Minnesota here at this kind of plus money price with how Bybee's been. And then Nick Pivetta. I mean, Nick Pivetta has been fantastic for the Padres so far this season. Gets away from Fenway Park, gets away from the AL East. Two really big positives for him. Now he's at Petco Park in a really good pitching environment. The Padres have the best bullpen in baseball by ERA. So to me, I just thought it was a position where I had to take the Padres as a short dog here. I like Logan Webb a lot, but he's definitely a guy who's not as sharp on the road as he is at home.
Yeah, I hear you there. I echo those thoughts. I really like to bet on Logan Webb at home and look to fade him in some spots on the road. How about Nick Pivetta, 4-1 with a whip of 0.77 so far. Off to a great start for San Diego. Hey, quickly, what do you make of the Dodgers? I'm going to call it a slow start. Dodgers kind of been struggling. They've got 5 starting pitchers who are injured right now, if you count Shohei Ohtani. Do you think the Dodgers, any reason to be concerned, or are they not the super team we build them up to be? Most people build them up to be in the preseason.
I mean, look, this is a team that has almost twice as many wins as they do losses, and here we are sitting here talking about them, getting off to a little bit of a slow start, not being the team that we expected. I mean, the injuries are very significant. I mean, they have an entire pitching staff on the injured list between starters, guys that could relieve, guys that actually are relievers. It's just insane what they're dealing with right now. And of course, Tyler Glasnow goes down as well, and we'll see how long that ends up taking. But look, I mean, I think to some degree too, they're just kind of bored. I mean, when you're a super team like this, we see this a lot more in the NBA than we do in Major League Baseball. But when you're going to be a playoff team, and you're coming off of, a postseason run and all of that, like it's hard to get up for the first month of the regular season. So I think when push comes to shove, they'll be just fine. But again, they've got to quit having pitchers drop like flies.
Yeah, like you said, 5 starting pitchers. By the number of games played against teams under 500, Dodgers 13, Padres and Giants only 7, and the Cubs 0 so far this season. Adam Burke, managing editor, VSiN.com. Always appreciate the time. Thanks.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, Adam.
This is VSiN Primetime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
A lot of bettors were very concerned. They had the Indiana Pacers on moneyline parlays or laid the points with the Pacers. They got off to a poor start tonight, trailed 40-25. When I got here at Circa, down 15. Pacers now have the lead, 52-51. Will, in the NBA, just stay patient, right? It's things are going to change. More often than not, when a team has a big lead, they blow it. Pacers now, how about this? Live line is now Pacers -6.5. You had a chance to grab at one point Pacers +4. I think 4.5 might have been the peak number the DraftKings offered when the Pacers fell behind. Here at Circa, when they were down 40-28, Pacers were +3, +2.5 for 3. Now they're 6.5-point favorites, 52-51. They've got the lead over the Bucks. I think with Damian Lillard out, Will, you had to expect that the Bucks were probably running on fumes tonight, right?
Yeah, and this game started earlier than I expected. Usually you don't get the 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 Pacific, so I was just kind of doing other things. I look and I see not only did the game start, but Indiana's down 11-0. I have Indiana money line as the second piece of a money line parlay with the Dodgers from last night, which got sweaty as that game went to extra innings. Dodgers did win. Like, man, already down 11-0, and it was quick. But yeah, they've recovered here. Without having watched every play, I mean, just how much can Giannis do? Because what that rotation is outside of Giannis is just not good enough. These are bench players. I mean, you're relying on Kevin Porter Jr. to step up and play big minutes and contribute. There's not much talent there. It's tough when you're a team like Milwaukee, you're not a big market, you're not attracting free agents, and you're good every year. You're picking 28, 29, 30. You just, unless you hit on some of those picks, it's just very hard to do in the NBA draft. You start to run out of talent, and they look like they have run out of talent around Giannis. Doc Rivers continues to cash paycheck after paycheck after paycheck. Boy, for a guy that won a championship 17 years ago with Garnett, Pierce, and Allen, he has underachieved consistently and constantly since then. So I would expect Indiana to pull away here. I would look towards, if you had nothing in pocket, I would look towards a live line on Indiana laying the points. I do think they eventually pull away. And if you couldn't hold an 11-0 lead if you're Milwaukee, I don't think it looks good for you going forward.
Yeah, two things there. One is Doc Rivers and that Celtics team that won the championship. He had Tom Thibodeau as his basically defensive coordinator, and Thibodeau was a big part of that as well. And since then, I know Doc seems like a good guy. He's got the media, most of the media people eating out of his hand, right? He knows how to handle the media. But this guy's basically been stealing money and getting jobs he shouldn't have for basically the last 10 years. And this thing with the Bucks is not going to work out. You brought up a question last night. I think we had Doug Kazarian on the show, and you said this feels like it's going to be the end of the Freak era in Milwaukee. It feels like the Freak wants out. He wants something else. He's already won a championship there. This Bucks team's kind of spinning its wheels. Probably time to go. Where would you think a likely landing spot would be for the Freak?
Yeah, I thought if they were going to lose this series, Giannis would want out. The fact that Lillard is now out for all of, if not most, of next season, and boy, go take a look at what Damian Lillard is owed. $55 million a year, $60 million a year for fear. It's crazy. There's just no path. They don't have any of their picks. It feels like it makes sense for Giannis. It makes sense for the team to move forward. Finding a great partner is not easy. The team that comes to mind for me is Houston because they've got a lot of picks. They've got a lot of young players. I know in the NBA you got to match salaries, which makes it tough. But Houston would one where it's like, all right, they need a star. They've got the extra picks. I know people have floated Brooklyn, but all right, he's going to go to Brooklyn and play with who? There's nobody for him to play with. So he's going to go there and be in a similar situation to Milwaukee where you're going to wait a year or two for a free agent to come join you? That doesn't make sense. I know people have floated the Knicks. What does that trade look like? What, Towns for Giannis? Does that really make sense for Milwaukee? I would go with Houston. It's not as easy as just, you know what, he wants out and we'll find a team. I know people that study the cap say this second apron stuff makes it really, really difficult. So I would say Houston. Do you have a team in mind that you think makes sense for both parties?
No, but you, like you said, you got to figure out what makes sense financially. I haven't put much thought into it. The Matt Ishbia and the Phoenix Suns will probably try to figure out a way to get the Freak to Phoenix. Houston would be a spot that makes sense. By the way, speaking of the Rockets, our friend Chris Massaro just going off last night on Sengun and how he was costing the Rockets a game. Sengun put up great numbers last night. And when is somebody going to take Jalen Green to task? This guy's supposed to be a young superstar guard. He has disappeared in 3 of the 4 games for the Rockets. He had 8 points last night. He's supposed to be your lead guard, your star guard, your young star. He's 23 years old, and he had a great game 3. He's disappeared in game 1, game 2, and game 4. Where's the criticism for a player like that? Last night, by the way, Draymond Green received way too much credit from Reggie Miller, who's a buffoon, by the way. I can't even listen to the game when Reggie Miller's calling it on TV. That guy is an airhead, and he was praising Draymond Green at the end. Give me a break. Sengun had a shot he should have made from about 12 feet, a turnaround jumper in the lane. He got the shot he wanted. It just rolled off the front of the rim. And Draymond was hurting his team with a bunch of stupid stuff last night, as usual. And but the media loves to hype up Draymond as a lockdown defender, and he gets a little bit overhyped. He was getting a little bit too much credit last night. Jimmy Butler, I thought, played really well in his return from the pelvic injury. You weren't sure if he was going to be close to 100%. He looked really good. And, of course, Curry carried the offense last night. But, that Rockets team, just a little bit too young and too immature right now. And Ime Udoka, another thing. Did you break down the fourth quarter? How many coaching mistakes did he make in the fourth quarter last night? My gosh. The guy looked like a rookie coach who cracked under pressure and had no idea what he was doing. So the Rockets were definitely – experience matters, right? The Golden State Warriors have been there, done it, they've won it, and the Rockets just looked like a team totally unprepared for that type of playoff pressure. The coach and the star young guard being the main 2 culprits in this series. Udoka and Jalen Green. Anyway, as far as the Freak, I'm sure he's going to have plenty of bidders because as soon as you bring that guy in, if you got a decent surrounding cast, you're starting to think, hey, we can win a championship, right? I would think the Knicks got to do everything they could possibly do to try to get him to New York. And if you got to give up Karl Anthony Towns and whatever else you have to give up aside from Jalen Brunson, and I think you got to look at that. Seriously, got to look at it because with Brunson and the Freak, if you put a decent cast around him, you could win a championship. You could win the East, right? The East is not that difficult to win, I don't think. Cavs,
Did you hear Carlos? Huh? Did you hear Carlos Boozer on ESPN? Who he thinks Giannis should go? Where he thinks Giannis should go?
What did he say?
He should go to the Lakers with LeBron.
Oh, come on.
No. Okay, all right. Let's talk this through. I think some of these guys think everybody in the NBA is just a free agent all the time. You gotta make a trade. It's not just you get these calls in like local radio. Oh, trade Giannis for an unprotected second rounder and Jared Van. I mean, it has to make sense for both sides. I mean, to go on the air and say that is just insane.
Well, another thing is not all these guys want to play with LeBron.
Right.
Everybody's tired of his drama queen act. He barely gets bumped and he falls on the floor and he lays there and he rolls around for 5 minutes. You notice his teammates don't even rush over to help him up anymore. They know he's faking injuries. And then you get in Game 4 against Minnesota, Will. What's LeBron do in the fourth quarter? He goes scoreless and he makes 3 blunders in the final minute to cost his team the game. So forget about the Lakers. I think Freak's got other better landing spots. I don't know if Phoenix is going to be an option, but I would think that Houston and the New York Knicks be two of the prime options. Now, I also don't want to downgrade or degrade the Cavs and the Celtics because those are great teams at the top of the East. But if the Knicks got the Freak and Brunson, I think they would be a force to be reckoned with in the East. Well, let's do a quick baseball update here before the break, and I'll give you the score first of all for the NBA game. Bucks on top. They've regained the lead, 56-54. 6.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Pacers still 5.5-point favorites for the game. Will, the Yankees have 10 hits in the first 4 innings, and they have a 7-0 lead over the Orioles.
Baltimore just has no pitching. We talked about it yesterday, and they were able to hold up and get enough outs to hang on to a 4-0 lead and win 4-3. They just, every time you look at the mound, I mean, throwing Kyle Gibson out there, Charlie Morton, I've seen better days. All of their good pitchers are hurt, and they don't have a lot of ways to get outs, whether starting rotation or bullpen. And that's always been a place, Camden Yards, where the Yankees have historically scored a ton of runs dating back years and years. That's been a hitter's haven for the Yankees. So surprised it's 7-0 this early. I don't know. I would imagine they took Gibson out by now, but hey, you hit 4 homers within the first 5 batters, you're going to put up some runs. Rice hit up another homer. So a spot where the Yankees here are flexing their muscles.
Garrett Crochet and the Red Sox lost at Fenway last week to Seattle. Crochet's a pitcher I've been looking to back in some spots. I thought about playing him tonight. Didn't make the bet and wish I had. Right now, Crochet went off minus 139 here at Circa, 130 at the Westgate Superbook. Total of 7.5. Red Sox up 3-0 on the Blue Jays. Top of the second in Toronto. Do you happen to have a Garrett Crochet Cy Young bet?
No, I took it easy on the futures. I like to jump in sometimes in season. I remember last year I was able to get judged 16-1 in like the middle of May.
Right.
I feel like before the season you don't get great numbers, so I've started to look more and more. But I don't think I have any futures in terms of the awards right now.
All right, the NBA and NHL playoffs are heating up. MLB in full swing. The Kentucky Derby is Saturday. Don't just watch, bet smarter with VSiN Pro. Right now, get full VSiN Pro access through August 1st for just $59. That saves you over 33% off the monthly price. Sign up now, vsin.com/subscribe, vsin.com/subscribe.
This is VSiN Primetime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Underway in New York at the Garden. Pistons 9, Knicks 3. And again, Knicks closed 5.5-point favorites, total of 215.5. Knicks up 3-1 in the series after taking 2 in Detroit and one in controversial fashion. Now 11-7 Pistons over the Knicks. Bucks on top of the Pacers, 67-64. So these teams going back and forth now. Pacers 4.5-point favorites. And the live total 208.5. Scoring's picked up a little bit in the third quarter here. All right, Will Hill, Matt Youmans back on VSiN Primetime. Will, Al Scalliott from Dom DeMarco's Pizzeria and Bar on West Charleston, he contacted me today and said he's having a party out at the Dom DeMarco's location on Monday. And he said, invite Will Hill, bring him over. I said, well, that's going to be tough to do because he lives in Connecticut. So, Will, if you want to come into town this weekend, Al's inviting you to his party out of Dom DeMarco's. Do you think you can make it?
I'll have to check airfare and see if that's a plus EV or negative EV play. I do appreciate the invitation, but might be tough. I've never had it before. They're only on the West Coast. Is that the case?
Dom DeMarco's has actually got New York roots, but Al's got the only location, I believe, on the West Coast in Vegas. Okay. Yeah. He is the owner out there, and Al, a sponsor of our Circa Friday Football Invitational and Circa College Hoops Challenge contest. And he gave away the second-place prize, a $200 gift card in the contest this year. Will, you are a former winner of the Circa College Hoops Challenge. I can't recall what you got as the top prize that year. I believe you did not get Dom DeMarco's. I think you got a restaurant voucher either at Circa or the D, and you passed on the Circa Cabana, right?
Yeah, it was just too tough with to find babysitters, things like that. My wife is particular about who watches these kids. I'll just let whoever watch them. So we were able to go to Andiamos, which was not a bad trade, man.
You took the whole family to Andiamos.
Yeah, bone-in ribeye, some lobster bisque, shrimp cocktail. It was nice. So no complaints for me, and I got a trophy, which looking at right now.
The three champions of the Circa College Hoops Challenge, Will Hill in 2023. And then 2024 was David Deneen, and this year, 2025, Paul Stone. And congratulations to all three. Paul Stone's trying to plan a cabana party for the first weekend of the college football season out of Stadium Swim as we speak. Will, I wanted to mention First Bet Derby Day because we got Bob Ike coming on the show at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, and Bob is as sharp as it gets on the horses. Southern California horse handicapper. He's going to be on with us. Derby Day is almost here. It's Saturday. Why not make your first bet your best bet? With First Bet, you can wager on Churchill Downs, Belmont Park, and tracks around the world, all from your phone. Go to firstbet.com. That's the number 1ST, bet.com, and enter promo code VSiN200 for a $200 sign-up bonus. Don't miss out. Bet smarter on the Derby with firstbet.com. Again, 1ST, bet.com, and the promo code VSiN200 for that $200 sign-up bonus. And you want to get that this week before the Derby, and you don't want to miss Bob Ike at 6:30 tonight because he does as thorough of a breakdown of the Derby field to 20 horses as you're going to find anywhere. He's also going to be in Vegas on Friday night for a Derby seminar at the Rampart Sportsbook with Dwayne Colucci. But we get the first look from Bob Ike on this show tonight at 6:30. Will, Kyle Gibson made his season debut for the Baltimore Orioles tonight, and I'm not really sure why he was left in the game as long as he was. I'm going to let you explain what happened here, but 4 of the first 5 Yankees hitters homered off Kyle Gibson. Why did he hang around in this game until the 4th inning?
Great question. My guess is this is the old take one for the team. I don't know if they have plans. Sometimes these teams do this where you sign a guy or you bring a guy in and whether it's mop-up duty or a spot start and saying, you know what, we're going to probably just use this guy for a start or an appearance, and we'll let him go as long as he can go. We'll eat some innings, and we'll just kind of get rid of him after the game. It's just part of the business. I don't know if that's the case here, but they really let him take one for the team. 9 earned runs, 11 hits allowed, and I saw this stat. The Yankees are the first team in the history of baseball. The DraftKings Sportsbook tweeted about this. First team in baseball history to lead off 2 games of a season with back-to-back-to-back homers. And they did it 1 month apart, March 29th and April 29th. So nobody's ever done that, led off the game with back-to-back-to-back homers twice in the same season. So Yankees making history here. I guess those torpedo bats, which were the story of the first weekend, which we haven't heard about in a month, maybe we'll start hearing about it again.
Yeah, well, half the guys in the lineup are not even using the torpedo bats, including Aaron Judge, right? He doesn't use the torpedo bat. Carlos Rodon, by the way, this should not go unmentioned. Rodon got to start tonight for the Yankees, who closed minus 173 here at Circa. If you laid that price, congratulations, because you got a rocking chair winner. Rodon has a no-hitter. It's early, but 3 2/3 innings, no hits, no walks, 5 Ks. So he's been perfect as he tries to close out the 4th inning against the Orioles. Kyle Gibson, 3 2/3, 11 hits, 9 earned runs, and 5 homers. He lasted 73 pitches, and if you're counting, do the math, his ERA is 22.09 after his first outing of the season. I don't really understand. After Gibson gives up 5 runs in the first, 1 in the second, at that point, just pull the guy out. They left him in the 4th inning to get hammered, and the Yankees taking full advantage of that tonight, 9-0. I do want to talk about a game Adam Burke mentioned when he was on with us, because I considered this playtime. I know, Will, you thought about betting the Yankees, and you didn't pull the trigger, and you're regretting not making that bet right now. Adam Burke has got to play tonight. And I looked at this last night, and the number was a little bit better on the home dog. I'm still thinking about playing it, but Adam's got the Padres and Nick Pivetta. You get about plus 110. It looks like the best number out there on the Padres. Logan Webb is going for the Giants. And Webb, the last time he was at home, I bet on him, and he was outstanding. The thing about Webb, his home road splits are pretty obvious, in that he's a pitcher you bet on at home and you bet against on the road, or at least look to bet against in some spots on the road. He's pitched 23 innings on the road this season, allowed 8 earned runs, and that's compared to his season numbers of an ERA of 1.98 and a WHIP of 110. But if you go to ESPN.com and break down the home road starts for Logan Webb, I'll tell you what his last 2 home starts have been: 13 and a third innings, 0 earned runs, 16 strikeouts. He's on the road, not nearly as dominant. And Nick Pivetta is off to a great start. Will, can we buy into what Nick Pivetta has done so far for the Padres as legitimate? Because I want to back him tonight, but I have not made the bet yet. Pivetta so far in 5 starts, he's 4-1, 30 innings, has allowed only 16 hits and 4 earned runs, 7 walks, 30 strikeouts. That comes out to a WHIP of 0.77 and an ERA of 1.20. Is the price right on Pivetta and the Padres tonight at plus 110?
I think it is. And Adam brought up a good point. And I'm more of a first 5 better than the full game, because I don't.
Right.
I like to get a lot of totals. I don't like to get involved with this ghost run. I've been burned on that way too many times where I just reach a point where I'm simply not going to do it anymore. And if you're betting the full game, you have to handicap the bullpens. That's a lot of work. Who's available, who's not. That being said, the Padres are outstanding in the bullpen. Neither team has hit great recently. I was looking towards maybe an under. But my favorite bet here, if anything, there's some juice involved, but laying $1.50, taking the Padres plus a half a run in the first 5 is what I'm going to bet. I love being able to win if it's tied after 5. That half a run, especially when it's a low total through 5 innings, is so valuable. So I like the Padres side. I'm okay laying the juice and getting the half a run through 5.
Now you've got I like that too. We'll talk about the philosophy of betting first 5s a little bit more later in the show. I agree with that. Last night, the Dodgers on the run line, they were up 5-0, laying 1.5, minus 125 or so last night. Dodgers have a lead. Dustin May he looks great. Well, he starts to struggle a little bit late in the 4th inning. He gets lucky, he gets a double play grounder, gets out of the inning. Through 5, Dodgers have a 5-0 lead. I thought, man, he looks pretty shaky. Starts off the 6th, and he can't throw a strike. I know sometimes you want to let young pitchers work through their problems. But I said, I'd probably get this guy out of the game now. He's losing control. He's over 80 pitches. He's off an arm injury. He hasn't thrown a lot in the past year. I'd probably take him out. We all manage from our couch. Anyway, Dave Roberts leaves him in. He ends up giving up another walk, a hit, a run. It's 5-1, 2 runners on. Roberts goes to the bullpen. He brings in a lefty, Anthony Banda, against a right-hander, which I don't know why you would do that. But he brings in a lefty. He gives up a hit. Anthony Banda, the lefty, faces another right-hander. Marlins send up a pinch hitter, a right-hander, grand slam, 5-5. That's the one thing that bothers you about Dave Roberts sometimes, Will. He is a bumbling buffoon sometimes when it comes to handling his pitching staff.
Yeah, and you play these full games, it's dangerous when the run and a half, when you're not guaranteed the extra at bat, is a tough one too. But
7-6. Dodgers got to win an extra 7-6. You got to win on the Dodgers on your parlay. And we will take a break here. We're at the end of the first hour. Jeff Sherman of the Westgate Superbook joins us next.